Hello guys and welcome to another telemetry video, and in this one I'll show you how to extract that little bit of speed and a little bit of time out of Motec and how to gain an advantage over your opponent. I've already made a video about it, so you can go check it out. It's in the description, as well as all of the tools necessary to use it. So let's begin with this one, and as you can see I'm using Motec and I am using this GT7 logger. Of course you can find it down in the description as well as on my previous video, which of course is here. And you need to install first of all this GT7 logger and Motec. Please make sure that you use this pro version. You can use the standard one, but this one is not paid, so it's free, so you can use it. The next thing that you want to do is you want to jump into GT7. You jump into GT7 and all of a sudden you are recording the lap from your opponent or from you. It does not really matter, but you need to record the lap, of course. So here you can just go into GT7 logger and you can start a lap. So that's exactly what are we gonna do now. So we're gonna play the replay of the fastest guy in the world on this track. Of course it's Valerio, and here you can see that he is in the screen. So I've already done this. I've already recorded his lap, so I'm not going to do it again, and I've also recorded my own lap. But just make sure that you put this option on, so capture replays must be on. So, and of course you need to put your IP address, and this is a standard port 33740. This is the one that you need to use. So after you've done that, you need to go back into Motec, which is, I mean, I already made a video about it, so I'm not going to do it again, but I would like to go from the beginning. So we are actually, I'm not going to close it down. We're gonna create a new workspace. So creating a new workspace, and we're gonna say, okay, it's circuit. We need circuit, and I'm just gonna put circuit 2. It does not really matter how you call it. So we're gonna finish that up, and now you have this information. So to make it usable, just to extract this information out of Motec, you need to press this option, open log files, and it will open up this little window. So here you need to find your laps. These are usually stored where your GT7 logger is. In my example, it's on the desktop. So there is another file. Another file is called Another file is called GT7, and here you can find all of these logs. So depends on where you store your GT7 app, but here it is. So these are all the files that are recorded already. And all you have to do now is to log it from here, or you can just copy this thing and post it or paste it into your Motec. Depends on where your Motec is, but it's usually a local disk C Motec. You can go to log data, deep forest, and so on. So just as I said before, I have already done that. I'm not going to do it again. And now we need to go to deep forest, and now I will load up his lap time. So let's load up Valerio's lap time, and as you can see, it's right here just in front of me. And yeah, it's a pretty quick lap, not gonna lie. This is one of the best that I've seen, and it is the best that I've seen, let's be honest. So now I don't want to spend any more time. I will just log my lap, 5:45. In the end, I've done a 5:12, which was better, but marginally, just a little better. And now you can probably see that it just loaded my file. Now you need to go, you need to go to data, and here is on the left hand side, you can see my lap and his lap, or his lap and my lap. That does not really matter. So I need to put the reference in. So this is going to be this red dot, and here I need to put in my lap. So now you can see the differences. But probably you are wondering what is missing here. So the missing data is braking. And of course, we got this data that goes over our limit. So how you can fix that? You can go to properties and just edit or do whatever you need with this data. So in this case, it's the G-force, and I will edit this G-force. I will put it to minus, let's say -4. Of course, it's not going to be 4 Gs, but okay. And here I will do the same. Okay, this is actually 1.5. I will do this one at 4. So we are just adjusting the data here. And yeah, what is missing here? What you can add, of course, you can add a group or you can add a channel. In this case, I would like to add a group. So what is missing here? As I said before, it's the braking. I will add a channel. And then I will find, of course, you got this braking, you got the clutch. I'm not using the clutch, so we can just use braking in here. As you can see, braking is right here. We can drag it around, we can put it whatever, you know, it's suitable, but I'm just gonna put it under throttle. You'll see why. So here, I will put it in, and now we got a clear picture of what is going on around the track. And here I can start to see the differences, or, you know, where is he making up all of that time and where am I losing a lot of that time. So it's actually not a lot, it's only 4/10, but it's quite a significant amount when you think about it. Here we got the throttle position, engine RPM is crucial. You can of course look at all of this other stuff, some mixture, scattered. Yeah, you can use this stuff. Yeah, it's not gonna make that much of a difference. Engine RPM, there's a lot of graphs around this one. Suspension, you got the suspension, another one. You got the track report, so where is he gaining the time, where I'm losing the time. And of course, we got this channel report and section times. In this case, I'm not really sure why they didn't load up. So in some cases, they kind of missed the data. I'm not actually sure why. So here, we can go to graph, and now I will really start dissecting where am I getting all of the time, or where, you know, where actually he is getting it back. So here, so yeah, we can just go have a look at what happened here. And of course, if you didn't know or just didn't include it yet, you need to show variance, which is the difference in between the lap times. We'll show variance, and sometimes you need to go to tools, you need to go to corrected speed and distance and go back to corrected speed and just adjust this one to 10. If the, let's say if the variance does not match up with your different lap times, mine was, I think it was, mine was at 5, but I've set it up to 10. So just go make sure that you check it out at 10 and change it. And then you will have a proper difference in the end. But okay, this is how you can fix if something isn't really right or just is missing. So here we can just start to have a look. So for example, here, his speed was slightly less. He was carrying more speed at this point, but then later, as we got onto the power, he was he was actually losing a little bit of that speed. Why? Because he prioritized the entry. That's why. So he was braking a little bit later, prioritizing the entry instead of the exit of the turn like I did. And in the end, I just couldn't make up the difference. So he was probably on the curb, and then the curb got the rotation. He was just flying out of that turn. But the priority here was the entry. You can see the engine RPMs. And this is, this is usually the position where the brakes play, let's say, a little role, but he actually got onto the brakes a little bit later than I did. And also, this is a section where you just need to get a bit of that rotation of the back end just to make it, you know, just to make that rotation and get in the middle of the turn to carry more speed into this whole section. So instead of looking at corner by corner, we are actually looking now section by section. So throttle position at this point was, let's say it was okay. I mean, it kind of matched them up. These are milliseconds. I could have probably done it a little bit later. And yeah, once again, he's carrying slightly more speed. As you can see, 182 versus 177. So the difference 4.5. This is not a huge difference, but in the end, it also adds up. And as you can see here, he sacrificed a little bit of that entry speed just to get a better exit. And instead of losing a lot of this time here in this section, you can see losing about the 10th. Later, I am losing a 10.5 to about 3/10 after this whole section. So this is pretty huge. Just by prioritizing the corner before, he was able to carry a little bit more speed and getting about a 10.5 in total at the end of the section. So this is crucial. Looking at the track in sections, not corner by corner basis. This is very, very interesting. And of course, I will just go back to the middle of the track. Here we can stretch it up a little bit. And here you will start to see the differences. Once again, braking becoming slightly later. It's always a little bit later than I can do it. And on top of that, throttle position isn't as... I don't know how to call it, but he's just doing everything in one movement, while as you can see, I'm accelerating, getting off, and then accelerating once again, which is not that great. I mean, it's okay, you can get away with it, but it's definitely not the best thing to do. So here, once again, engine RPM, he's a little bit higher, and I upshifted actually a little. Yeah, it was the upshift that got me here. And that's about it. So we're looking at about 2 and about here. Oh man, yeah, it's about 3.5 tenths. So we can just have a look at where am I losing most of that speed. So first turn, and it's actually about 1.5 tenths. Then the next section, I'm losing another tenth to about 1.5 tenths. This section, this is where I'm losing most of my time. And then as we're getting back into the the most, I would call it the most important braking zone, which is this one, where you actually need to apply a lot of that speed. I am still losing a lot of time. So mostly in the braking zones, I'm just not able to carry that speed. And as you can see, it's dropping down. So technical section, middle section, it's kind of fine. But as we're getting back to the braking zones, he is just braking slightly later than I am and able to carry more of that speed. So the difference at one point, it was quite significant. I will make a detailed explanation of what happened here. But yeah, as you can see, it's always just a tiny bit later, tiny bit more speed, but it also adds up. Here at this point, it was actually a lot more speed. Just braking slightly later, he was able to carry much more speed into this whole corner. And at the end, he prioritized once again the entry, and it did pay out. So the curve was about 4 tenths at this point, and it was around 4.5 until we got up to the last braking point, which is, you know, when you think about it, it's pretty crucial just to truly understand what's going on. And you can see very sharp movements and very sharp acceleration in here. So this is the last corner, this is the last hairpin, and yeah, he is just braking slightly later, carrying more speed over that area. And then you can see I'm kind of losing a little bit of that time and then making it all up on the straight, but still in the end it's losing time. So in general, what I need to fix here, I need to brake later, and I just need to make sure that, of course, I brake into the turn instead of just braking in the straight line and then turning in. So it's not really paying out. Here in this section, I guess I have to slightly get later on the brakes, not so hard, don't adjust it that much, and just be able to, let's say, carry more speed by braking slightly later. As we can see, it's not that much, so I'm braking a little bit before the curb, but I should be braking slightly after the curb. And of course, this whole section really needs to be fixed. I mean, this is the middle section, just the technical part of the circuit, and here I'm losing most of the time. So I can just use this picture, I can just use these graphs and see, okay, how much is that? So it's marginal, it's pretty much nothing. But at this point, he is stepping onto the brakes slightly later. When I talk about slightly later, he's reaching about 100%, maybe about 2 tenths later than I am. So the difference is about 2 tenths. It's nothing that significant, but in the end, it all adds up. And as you can see, the difference in the end was about 4.5 tenths. So it's really something that I should consider looking at and really trying to figure out what is he doing, how is he doing. So we will just do a lap analysis and see what is he actually getting out of this and how much more speed he's actually carrying through a lot of these corners. So let's begin with this one. So here, as you can see, I slow down a couple of these corners so you can really see the difference. But as I said before in the intro of this video, he's really using a lot of these curbs. So basically he's rotating more with the curb. So, and now he's just compromising the entry slightly so he can carry more speed into this whole section. You can see that just a little wider line and using a lot of this curb is eventually going to make such a huge difference. I think it was even about 2 tenths that he just made in this corner alone. So compromise his entry for a faster exit, and it's really something that paid out in the end, and eventually just trying to push the car more over this point. And here definitely once again carrying more speed, just the braking was a little bit more, but then again you can see how much it takes for me to truly get on the power, to get onto that 100%. So these are all the things that matter. So instead of like I would say, easily getting on the power. He's just like putting the power down and the car just stays there. So and even at this point, I think he was just really on the limit, and the car usually slips out in second, but for him it was actually pretty decent, and he upshifted into that third gear a little bit quicker than I did. So all of these things in the end really add up. So it's not much, as you can probably tell. It's maybe about 20-30 thousandths of a second per corner, but then in the end it really adds up. And here I'm going a little bit wider on just to get on the apex, and he's just all in and faster on the way out, compromising his exit speed, but in the end it was quicker. So he understood that, okay, maybe it's gonna compromise my exit, but in the end it will be quicker. So in the race I wouldn't probably suggest doing something like that, because you got kind of, let's say, a couple of 100 meters later that you can eventually use. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you find this one useful, and I really hope that this is maybe one day going to help you to just boost your lap times and get into something a little bit better, a little bit faster, and extract just a tiny bit of this detailed data, which in the end is going to help you with your driving and overall standings, and of course overall pace. So guys, once again, if you got any questions, you can ask me down in the comments, and I really hope that you enjoyed in this one. So until the next time, bye.